Hello, this is Jeremy Rand, and this video is going to go through a brief review of some of the terminal commands that are important for the UNIX Shell Programming class at Arapahoe Community College. This video won't cover every command you'll need this semester, but it should be enough to get you started on your first few projects. Let's begin by reviewing the commands that are necessary for command line navigation. So I'm going to launch a terminal window here, which will open up by default into my home directory on the computer. And we need to know this because even if you're creating your shell scripts using a graphical editor and working in a graphical interface version of Linux like this one, there are times when you'll need to navigate to a particular location via the command line. The two commands that are most important for navigation are ls and cd. ls will show a listing of the files in your current location. By default, it just shows the names of the files. But if you use it with the -l option, you can get some additional information such as permissions on a particular file or directory, and this will become important later. And then I can use the cd command to change to a new default directory. So to step down my file tree, I can just use the cd plus the name of any directory that's a child of my current directory. So right now I can see there's a documents directory in my home directory. I'm going to change to cd space documents. If I use ls again, I can now see I've previously created the CIS232 directory. So I'm going to do cd space ci, and then I'm going to use the tab key. So just as a reminder, the tab key can be used to complete file and directory names, and this will save you keystrokes, so it'll make you faster, and it will also reduce the chance of making typos. So I generally recommend using the tab key when it is an option. So I can continue this pattern of seeing what's in a directory, changing into it. I'm going to clear my screen with the clear command, and I've got two files in here, nothing to and C here. I went a little bit too far into this dead end directory. So if I want to be able to step back up to a previous directory, I can do cd space ... and that will take me out of that dead end directory and back into the scripts directory. So I can again list here, see where I'm at. Command line directory management is also useful. So again, you can create and delete folders within the Linux GUI, but since you'll already be working in the Linux terminal while working on your scripts, it's often quicker to do it there. mkdir plus the name of a directory will create a new directory, and I can verify that it's actually there. I can remove it, get rid of it since I don't actually need that directory using rmdir. And again, I can verify that it's gone. That rmdir command by default only works on empty directories, so that if I try to use it on that dead end directory, it will tell me the directory is not empty. If I want to delete a directory and all of its contents, the way that that's typically done is rm-r, which if I just use rm-r, it will prompt me for those files and ask me if I actually want to delete each of the files. If I'm absolutely certain that I want to delete a directory and all of its contents, I can use rm space -rf, which that F is for force and the name of the directory, and this will delete the directory and any files and directories that are inside of it. So be careful with using this option because it will permanently remove a directory without any prompt. I'm going to clear the screen now. Another important command to review is chmod, chmod, which can be used to modify the permissions on a file. You'll need to make the script files you create executable before you can run them. So I have, in this directory here, I have one file that already exists, that forever loop. If I use that ls-l and look here, I can see the permissions. The user has read and write permissions, the group and everyone have read permissions, but no one has execute permissions. So if I want to add execute permissions for the current user, I can do chmod u plus x and the name of my file. And now if I look at ls-l again, you'll see that the user now has rwx on the permissions, that first part of that listing. And so this file is now executable by the current user. Notice that in my listing, Mint, by its default color scheme, now changes that to green as well, indicating that the file is executable. So if I want to now execute this script file, I can use /foreverloop.sh and hit enter, and it's going to start executing, printing out some text to the screen. And if you are working on a script and it's not ending, either by design or because you make a mistake and you have a loop that just doesn't ever end, and that will probably happen at least once this semester, you can force the currently running script or currently running command of any sort, really, to terminate by typing Control-C. So Control-C can quit a runaway script. And I'm going to clear the screen again. A number of the scripts we write this semester will create a new file, and you can view the contents of a file in the terminal by using cat plus the name of the file. So this shows me what was in that forever loop file that I just ran. You'll be able to write this pretty easily at some point in the semester. This is a very simple file, just illustrating the idea of making a loop that doesn't ever end. That should be enough to get you started on your first scripting project. We'll review other commands as they're needed throughout the semester, and they come up as we're working on the various projects. Thanks for watching.